Hey folks, welcome back. It's you again. Welcome back to another James Bond review. And this is gonna be the 19th review. And of course, Rant, the word is not enough. I mean, this movie really took me all the energy out of myself. What happened to this film? What happened? This is a really bad Bond film I've ever seen. I kind of take it back because when I said that Octopussy is actually right there, that's way too humoristic. That's one of the worst Bond films. I mean, I did not mean literally. I thought it was just a bad Bond flick, but this was even worse than Octopussy. What happened to the word is not enough. What happened to this film? This is so bad. And this Richards, this actress, she destroyed this film. She completely ripped off everything, in my opinion. She was terrible. This is forgettable, awful movie. The worst Bond film, I mean, not the worst, but worst Bond film, And Denise Richards was the worst Bond girl of all time. She was so terrible. This was ridiculous. This movie, bad plot, terrible acting performance. Everybody sucked, Still, Pierce Brosnan to me is one of the best, one of the greatest Bonds ever, in my opinion. But he did only 4 movies, and 2 movies are actually really good, but 2 movies are actually really bad. And this is really god-awful, terrible. Directed by Michael Apted. I heard about that he passed away, but horrible direction, horrible screenplay. This is just awful, forgettable plot, terrible villains, god awful villains, terrible, god awful Bond girl. The worst villain of all time, Electra King. What the fuck, Sophie Marceau? She was horrible. She was god awful. I hated her so much. The song, the word is not enough. Awful, by garbage. It was god awful. Whole movie was terrible. I mean, what happened to this movie? What happened? GoldenEye, the best movie. It's my favorite Bond, my favorite action movie of all time, Yeah, it is. I talk about 1 hour why on my video why I love this movie, why I love GoldenEye to death, Why to me Pierce Brosnan is the greatest Bond in my opinion, why I just love so much GoldenEye, I did at least, I think 36 minutes I'll talk about Tomorrow Never Dies, but GoldenEye, I love dearly to death. I watched it, I have a poster behind me, There's a poster. GoldenEye. Tomorrow Never Dies was much better film. And this is almost the same plot. This movie behind me, this movie, Broken Arrow, this movie, almost the same plot. It's the hunt for this plutonium, and for this reactor, and of course this god-awful Bond girl. She's a physicist. What the hell she is? She's physicist. What she is? Physicist. She's Dr. Christmas Jones. She's a nuclear physicist. Where did this actress study? Where did she? On what college this god awful actress went to? I'm talking about the character, not the actress. The character, Christmas Jones, on what college was she went to? I mean, god-awful performance by the actress. Denise Richards is horrible. It's god-awful. She's the worst Bond girl ever. And by the way, no, Sophie Marceau is even worse. She's the worst Bond. She's the... the plot makes no sense. The goddamn movie makes no sense. What happened to this film? This is a really bad Bond movie. Yeah, go ahead, click my thumb down, dislike, If you like this film, hey, good to you. Click a dislike. I'm tired of it, The next Bond that's gonna came out, which I'm gonna try to do review today, Die Another Day, is much worse movie. You know. But this is bad. I thought it's gonna be decent. I thought it's gonna be another time waster. No, it's not gonna be a time waster. This was lackluster. It was it was ridiculous. It was laughable. It was even worse than Octopussy, you know. Oh my god, I think that Pierce Brosnan wasn't the problem, but once again, too many stunt doubles for Pierce Brosnan took me also out of the movie. I mean, he did this movie and another movie, and they did not use that much stunt doubles. This was just this is too many stunt doubles, ridiculous plot, ridiculous gadgets. I mean, oh. The word is not enough. It's an exhilarating but sophisticated action-packed adventure. What's exhilarating, whatever action-packed adventure? It's not action-packed adventure. There's only one scene that I like, the opening scene when Bond was chasing that girl, that girl Maria Grazia Cucinota assassin, you know. The boat chase, that's the only decent scene that I liked. The only scene that I liked, you know. So, okay, portrayal and supply. This movie was so forgettable. I swear to God, I barely make it. It was so forgettable. It was, everybody was god awful. Everybody. The cast, the acting, the music was terrible. The word is not enough by by garbage was terrible. The director was terrible, you know. So the open scene, it starts with Bond being in Spain. He has to get this money from Robert King, you know, a millionaire and a friend of him, you know. They were together, classmates, and they studied in Oxford. Like, this is another thing that's kind of ridiculous to me. I mean, it's like Bond, Bond shoots one of the bad guys, you know, and he ties him up with a rope that called when he jumped, you know, that scene. He called, if that rope called rip off, and Bond could have fall into his demise, you know. But I don't know how he even managed not to fall into that demise, you know. Now that the rope did not rip off. That's another wonder, in my opinion, another fiction, you know. And this Bond, it was just god awful. This Bond was just god awful. You know, so Bond, he retrieved the money, but for Robert King, but those assassins are being murdered, you know, and while I think he's in England, you know, I'm in MI6, you know, he delivered the money and was actually this device, I think was plastic device. I still know how it was actually how you call it, it was actually pushed on a button. I think it was the remote control, which the bomb explodes and kills Robert King, which is kind of stupid. And there's this woman assassin fires on Bond, and Bond goes after her, steals the boat, you know. And the boat chase, I give credits, I give props because they did great. I think that the boat chase was really great, you know. That's the only thing that I liked. But when he catches the assassin in the balloon, you know, the bitch, she pulls a gun and explodes herself. Another stunt double falls down for Pierce Brosnan, which is ridiculous. And then the fucking song starts, and then we see on this fucking funeral, which is another disappointment in my opinion. Yeah, it was a funeral for this guy. What the hell was he? You know, a funeral for unknown guy, you know, unknown millionaire or billionaire or whatever, who is who is the owner of petroleum supply, So Bond decides, because he's hurt, he has a romance with Serena Scott Thomas. Yeah, Serena Scott Thomas is in this movie. She's a doctor. Why is a woman a doctor? They could give him a man, not a woman. So she gives him, like a positive test that he passed the test. Even though his shoulder was still injured, he decides to investigate the murdered Robert King, and he decides to be a bodyguard to Electra King, played by Sophie Marceau. Why? So he has a romance with her. They go to the supply to this plant, to King's plant. They go to this ski plant, to the ski mountains, and there's a few people with those helicopters, and there's a fucking lame ski scenes, Pierce Brosnan's stunt double was so god awful, I hated his head, I hated him. The scene in which was on a ski slope, Pierce Brosnan ski on a ski, it was god awful executed, Better ski sequences were actually in For Your Eyes Only, Even on Her Majesty's Secret Service was much better. The Spy Who Loved Me, even A View to a Kill were much better ski sequences than this movie, this film, it was ridiculous. So yeah, there was a explosion. Two more helicopters crashed. There was explosion, and there was this bubble igloo which saved Bond and Sophie Marceau. Sophie Marceau was like, I can't mistake it. I can't stay here. And Bond was, no, you don't have to. He cuts the igloo down, and he saves her. Fuck this movie. Another problem is, no, there's not a problem. No, actually, it is my problem. No disrespect to the actor Desmond Llewellyn, but I heard that he had a car accident and he was killed. I think I don't know when, but it was that year, 1999, which this was released. He was killed. Really, rest in peace, poor Desmond Llewellyn. Askew, I really miss the actor. I wish he would be in more Bond films. He said, this is my substitute, he said. So Bond says, so since you Q, he must be R. And John Cleese in this movie. And he's like now R. And yeah, I've read that Desmond Llewellyn did not like some of the actors he worked on Bond movies. I think he liked Sean Connery, or the rest, I don't know. I think in Octopus you can see when Bond says if they can save his tuxedo, and of course Bond said, of course Q said too bad they missed you, and it means he had enough of him, and this is Bond destroys his boat, and of course Q says you destroy my boat for retirement, and yeah, Q was kind of pissed at him, and he said only have two plans, one always expect. I think was in that movie behind me, Roadhouse. Expect the unexpected. I forgot what Q already said. He said always have an escape plan, and he said another word, but I don't remember. So that's it. But yeah, rest in peace, Desmond Llewellyn. Really miss him. But like I said, when Bond, he goes, he finds out that this guy, Robert Carlyle, Renard, he's a fucking terrorist. And this Electra, she was kidnapped, so her father called M for help, and she said not to pay. They didn't pay, they tortured Electra, it's just, oh, god awful. This is just a ridiculous movie. It's just a ridiculous movie. Yeah, I said it. Ridiculous. So Bond, he goes to investigate and finds this guy, terrorist Renard. I think was him. I think was 66 who. I think was 66 or was 99 who fired him the fucking head. And this asshole doesn't feel even a fucking pain. And he wants to kill. He kidnapped Elektra, which I don't know why. Then he wants to kill. Elektra. It fucking sucks, you know. No, because the double cross just did not work in my opinion, you know. So Bond, he goes to I think it was Kazakhstan or something, to this nuclear shaft, or was mine shaft or something. He meets this girl. Dr. Christmas says, "Oh, I already know. Oh, don't need to know jokes about me. I already heard them." Why is this character named Christmas? Why is the name after holiday? Why? What? This character, what did she study? Where did she study this character? She didn't know nothing about it. Oh, she was a nuclear physicist. How was this beautiful girl a nuclear physicist? I don't get it. And it's written on fandom Wikipedia. Oh, she's 37 years old, my age. I doubt that she was 37 in this movie. I don't believe her. Where the hell did the actress studied? You know, or the character. Where did the character study? It was was terrible, you know. And like Bond is then going this mine shaft, you know, like some nuclear physicist, you know. I think was some Russian. He goes, finds Renard, and he finds that there's a bomb, they stealing bomb, you know, a plutonium bomb, and Bond starts fighting him. He gets surrendered, and like all the soldiers getting killed by Renard. And Renard's so stupid, you know. He just fires his own man, you know. I hate this guy so much. Robert Carlyle sucked in this movie. Yeah, he sucked, you know. Underneath, he fires and kills his own man. Why? Oh, I hate this movie. Yeah, I really start hating this movie. You know, I did not before, but I liked it in high school. But now we're past this high school. I went from Dr. No till this movie, and I watched it and I see the flaws. And this movie has plenty of flaws and mistakes. And on IMDb, you know, Tomorrow Never Dies gets 6.5. This movie gets 6.4. Why? And some people consider this movie Pierce Brosnan's second best film because like they consider a true sequel to this movie behind me, GoldenEye. You know, because Robbie Carlyle returns as Zukovsky. And that's another problem. Zukovsky should not be in this movie because he's been killed. Why killing a character Martin Campbell created in GoldenEye? Why? Why killing one of my favorite characters in this movie? Why? You know, this movie makes no sense to me. No. So now Bond, you know, and Denise Richards, they go to, of course, Sophie Marceau calls M, you know, so they both go and try to find this bomb in the pipeline. They go in this pipeline, and of course then Bond finds that it was a double cross. It was Elektra behind it, you know. He says, leave the bomb, you know, and Denise just says, I can't deactivate, leave the bomb in the pipeline explodes, you know. And this actress was so laughable, terrible performance, you know. Yeah, it was terrible. I was laughing my ass on this actress. Denise Richards was terrible. No wonder she wasn't that much in the film. A good advice to Charlie Sheen. Yeah, I know she was a fucking wife of him. Who cares? I don't care about them, you know. I care about the good Bond movies. This is a bad Bond movie, you know. So now Elektra, you know, she kidnaps and kills other agents with her man, you know, and Bond finds out, you know, and Denise Richards says, you know, she says, do you wanna put that in English for those who don't speak spy? What? Do you wanna put that in English? For those of us who don't speak spy? What the hell happened? Terrible line, Denise Richards, terrible. They completely fucked up the screenplay, you know. I think that Denise Richards would have much better do job if there would be a proper script, because there are three people working on screen and they came with this, with unrealistic story, with forgettable story. Denise Richards just getting worse. Even when I watched in 2017 her new movie Altitude with Dolph Lundgren, she was getting worse and worse. The actress is getting worse by acting. She's god awful, you know. And I read that she had a plastic surgery and all, so she's terrible. Or when they're in this Istanbul in the fucking submarine, you can see her wet tits in this movie. Or now Sophie Marceau, she's a lover to Renard, you know, and shitty. This was a really shitty love scene between Robert Carlyle and Sophie Marceau. It was not needed. Yeah, it was shitty. It was terrible. You know, this was just terrible. This was just terrible. It was just terrible. The love story did not work in this movie. It was not needed. You know, the love story was not needed, in my opinion, for between Electra and Renate. It was not needed. You know, the story makes no sense. The plot makes no sense. This was just a really bad plot. I think that Michael Apted, he really didn't. He was. He was not the right director for the film, you know. Even three people worked on the screenplay and they came out with this, you know. Neil Purvis and Robert Wade and Anthony Wayne. I think it was Anthony Wayne, Neil Purvis, Robert Wade, and Bruce Fierstein. They came out with this, you know. And yeah, Judi Dench is much more in this movie. But she's much better in Skyfall, you know. Even time in Skyfall she's skilled. She's much better in Skyfall than this movie, you know. What college did Christmas Jones attend to? What college? Because she was not believable enough. She was unrealistic. She was fake, you know. Yeah, I didn't buy her to be a nuclear physicist. I did not buy her. What college did she attend to? What college? It's not even written anywhere. What college did she attend to? You know, she was unbelievable. Well, and there was another problem. You know, they go to this what was this guy Zukovsky's caviar plant. And they use those blades, you know. Yeah, there were these blades, you know, with a helicopter. They destroyed Zukovsky's plant, and they go and destroy Bond's car. Aston Martin, or was BMW, gets destroyed, and of course Bond is not gonna like that, you know. The whole car gets destroyed, demolished, the factory's been demolished. Then they found out that Zukovsky, he has a nephew, you know, which he's a captain of submarine. They go to this station, and once again Denise Richards' god awful performance completely take me out of the movie. First off, what happened to her hair? Her hairstyle was terrible, and when you watch close, you know, the camera, she goes, "That's it. Nuclear reactor's gonna do all of the meltdown," you know. I was laughable. Her acting, her mouth, her speaking mouth. The actress ruined this film. That is god, which is the worst Bond girl ever, you know. I know I will get dislikes for this film because there's so many people who like this film, you know. There's so many people who really likes this film. Yeah, and I know I will get dislikes, but Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ, man. I mean... GoldenEye is my favorite movie of all time. It's an epic, classic action film, pure badass. My all-time favorite film. I have so much love for that film. Tomorrow Never Dies. I'm really glad that my mom, she gave me the money so I could rented the movie in VHS in video store back in 1999. Yes, that was in 1999, the summer, which was the first time that I saw Tomorrow Never Dies. That time, this movie was still, they were still filming. I think was still filming that time. I don't know when it was released, but it was not released in 1999. Not in my country. They released it next year. Or was I think was more on the end of the millennium. 1999. But I'm really, really happy, that my late mom, yeah, she passed away, that she gave me the money so that I could rent it. 5 VHS movies, one of them was Bloodsport 2, the other one was US Marshals. I don't remember the last two movies, the third one was, of course, Tomorrow Never Dies, which I'm really happy. For one point, they asked Roger Spottiswoode if he would return, but he nothing wanted to do with the next Bond movie, so he did not return. I don't know about Martin Campbell. He returned in Casino Royale, so thank God. I can't wait till I finish these two movies, because I really wanna watch Daniel Craig. I'm done. The word is not enough. I'm staying away. The music score was terrible. By Garbage was terrible. The acting performance, the finale, I just don't get it. Like Bond jumps off this skyscraper in the water. I think he will be killed, because that was kind of really dangerous jump in my opinion. Then he's swimming, I don't know how many, 500 feet under the water, which I won't think he will survive. I think that there's a fight in this submarine for this golden plutonium stick, for the nuclear reactor or whatever. Denise Richards. Oh my God. I would rather watch Valentine 2001 because she gets killed. Yeah, she's killed by a killer in a horror film, by a killer, which I really did like Valentine. I heard so many terrible stuff about it, which I don't understand why would be Valentine a bad horror film when I liked it. Me and my ex-friend, we liked that film. At least Denise Richards, she was killed in that film. The finale makes no sense. There's like this heat, and it just showed that that on the finale, John Cleese, we see Panat Q, poor Desmond Llewellyn. I think he died during the filming of this film. Not on the set, but between the when they filmed this film, he had a car accident. That's why it was John Cleese on the end, and they could not use him. Poor Q, poor Desmond Llewellyn. He didn't deserve that. I really feel bad for his family, because he was great as Q. Major Boothort, I think was Boothort Q. He was great. But this movie was just terrible. It was just comedy. It was once again ridiculous when Denise Richards first shows up. She was like. She was so unbelievable, unconvincible. She did not convince me. She was unbelievable, laughable. I was laughing my ass. Yes, I was really laughing on Denise Richards' terrible performance. The actor was so god awful. Where did the actors even study to learn how to act? Because this was not acting. This was lackluster. This movie feels from it's just bad Bond. It just. I don't know what else to say. All I know is I will get tons of dislikes once again, because I'm tired. When I'm done with this Bond, I will take a break. I swear I will take a break from everything, because the word is not enough. My head is hurt me. even Pierce Brosnan says in this movie the word is not enough, you know. And I'm like 30 minutes complaining about Denise Richards. I forgot on Sophie Marceau completely. The glory of my people. Or she goes and she's like, Bond is captured with his chains, you know, in the fucking chair. And she's like, keep blabbering, oh, the glory of my people, or that she murdered her own father to get revenge because he did not pay the goddamn money for the ransom, and she somehow, you know, convinced Renard to fall in love with her. The guy doesn't feel a pain. He's jealous and gets in love with her. Fucking sucks. And like Robert Carlyle, you know, shows up, you know, and he's like this guy with golden teeth. He let him to die, you know, and he goes, and Zukovsky goes, and the guy says, "I'm glad to see you." And Zukovsky says, "Me too," and shoots. You know, that's actually a good scene, a great scene in my opinion. Then he shows up by Elektra's doorstep, and he sees the head from his nephew, says, "Bring it to me," and she grabs the head and shoots him. What was terrible, that scene. And Zukovsky falls down, grabs his stick, aims, and shoots in the Bond's arm. You know, of course, he breaks the chain. And that's awful death, you know. Why killing my favorite? Why killing the character? He was in GoldenEye. Why? And how was even in Istanbul? The last time we saw him, he was in St. Petersburg. What was he doing in Istanbul? And they spent for this movie $135 million for this movie. The GoldenEye was like, I think was $60 million or $65 million or $60 million. The Tomorrow Never Dies cost them $110 million. This cost them $135 million, even more than both the movies that Pierce Brosnan did. I'm done. I am done. Pierce Brosnan was embarrassing. He make fool out of himself, just like Roger Moore did with Octopussy or with A View to a Kill. He made fool out of himself. You know, I still don't get it. Why this movie doesn't get that much shit when he showed it. Denise Richards was god awful. Sophie Marceau was god awful. Yeah, and forgot to mention, you know. So Bond, you know, he grabs her gun, he frees the chains himself, goes after her, tells that Renard should stab Renard, and she says, "Renard, Bond," and he goes and shoots her, bang. He shoots her, says, "I never miss." This is the first time we see Bond killing a woman, you know. I mean, GoldenEye was better executed, was a pure badass action film, you know. When he grabbed Xenia on the top, fired with her AK-47 on the helicopter, and she gets suffocated. That was a badass scene. This was just sad, pathetic death scene for Elektra King. Yeah. She could deserve a better death, you know, like in a fire, you know, just like was in License to Kill. Bond could have grabbed a fucking fire, he could burn her, or put an explosion and explode her, or throw him the shark, you know, just like in The Spy Who Loved Me, you know, that girl, she was killed, she was thrown into the shark, you know. This was god awful, that scene for Elektra King. She deserved much better, you know. And no, I don't think Sophie Marceau is a bad actress, but such a terrible villain, you know. No, I'm actually really done with this film. Don't start me with Madonna and Die Another Day, because that movie will come next. But the word is not enough. Rant. Yeah, I know I'll get dislikes. I know I'll get dislikes because there's so many good people who hates me and likes this film, you know. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Click dislike, whatever. I'm just done. I'm just done. You know, I'm out. Ciao.